We have reactions from Vince Russo, bro. Bro, listen, I invented Stone Cold. Jon Moxley, Steve Austin, you are not, bro. And then Al Snow's like, yeah, come again? No, barbecue sauce. But that is a funny joke. And then we have Cornette's reaction. Of course, he did like a 30-minute video on it. We have Meltzer, extremely excited, believe it or not. Very excited. He was very happy with this spot and this match. Rated it like 4 stars or something. So we have some reactions from some of the pros, bro. Some of the pros in wrestling where we castrate the marks, bro. Because I invented wrestling, bro. So we're going to get his reaction first. Here's Vince Russo, and shout him out, by the way. Al Snow, who I'm just a huge fan of. Yeah, let's see. It's funny, too, the Hameen Media Group, they're like tagging Awful Wrestling and Neckbeards because they know they're going to retweet it. You know what I'm saying? And so not hiding their bias at all with the Hameen Media Group. So let's check in with what Barrow had to say and Al Snow. The Barrow and Snow Pod Barrow on the brand. Okay, let's look here.
Price to pay for Moxley from this stunt, and that's all it is. Again, we've talked about it numerous times on the show each week. This is a stunt. This is all that is.
Look at it being pulled out, and it's what Al Snow's saying. It's a stunt. It's like when Chris Angel hangs himself from hooks by his shoulder skin or whatever. You know, there's no allusion to that. He's just stupid. You know,
stunt wrestling. It's done for a momentary shock in awe. There is no long-term benefit to it. There is no long-term emotional.
Unless Mox was like a baby face, and then he's like, look what you did to my back, my family, what happened to me. And there, it's not like the comeuppance because all of the phony kidnappings and it's early in the show. Schmurder attempts, right? Bobby Schmurda. Right? About a week ago. But okay, you guys get what I'm saying, right? Those were cheesy and phony. And then like you'd kidnap FTR, then they'd just be back on TV and they're like, oh, my family. You prevented me from making money for my family, even though I have a guaranteed contract. And they would just pop back up, and it's like, well, what happened? Are we just not going to talk about what happened? You know, did they bring you to a Diddy party? What's going on here? So, yeah, this is just gross. And we, of course, we broke it down indelibly, if you will, on the previous live show, I want to say. But anyways, enough of what I have to say. Let's get back to Bro and Snow Show, bro.
Payoff for it. There's no building of heat. There's no one that's going to get over for it. It's clearly an ego-driven thing of, hey, look how tough I am, and you think this business is fake. Well, I'm going to show you it's real in a real way. All poor decisions. And the worst thing about this, again, now keep in mind that
I think Moxley didn't think it would stab in him. I thought he thought it would just poke him and he'd kind of bounce off it and it would like maybe puncture him for a second and then just sort of bounce out, you know, because there's enough spikes there. But it's like, no, that's not how this works, you know? I explained it last show. It's in that moment, you're the watermelon. Like when they show you the bed of nails, they explode like a melon on it first. They drop a melon, but then the guy doesn't drop himself on it. He lays down gently, right? And then that way you can stack another bed, put a cinder block, a motorcycle, a woman, right? Whatever you need to do, you can stack it on top of the guy. So I think Moxley's so dumb he thought that's what would happen, but he doesn't realize, like, no, that's not how it works, you know? You're dumb, you know?
Have said this, look, it's not my circus, not my monkeys. And I had a conversation in my history class last night about this kind of behavior. Told a couple stories about a couple things and my part in instigating it to make it worse. Because if you're stupid enough to do shit like this, then I'm going to facilitate it. Like, go do it. All right. But this is bad business. And it's not just bad business for AEW. It's bad business for everyone. No wonder It is no wonder that we are still continuously looked down upon by the mainstream entertainment industry, even though we are just as much a factor in modern
That's what I mean. Like, do you guys think this will get wrestlers on the Screen Actors Guild and all that shit? No. And they don't give a. So, the righteous and fair and the free wrestling company. But we'll freeze your contract and pull your merch and do shit like this, which instead of like trying to, Tony could be the arbiter of like, yeah, we're going to help these guys unionize and shit, or at least get them recognized. But once that happens, he can't then, the game's over for him. He benefits more by being like, I'll give you 10 million for 2 years, Edge, or whatever. It is kind of not that. I mean, whatever. I'm all for like the independent contractor thing if that's the road you choose, But it's just a matter of like Moxley doesn't care. His checks are clearing. He's getting his 3 million. He doesn't give a how this impacts the future. Jack Cartwheel or one of these kids on Evolve, right? He doesn't give a. So I don't know. And I'm not saying WWE people, what about WWE? They're not. I know, but they're at least like opening the door now for their wrestlers and saying, go do movies and stuff. Not that AEW's not, but once that happens, then they get under the Screen Actors Guild and all of that sort of stuff. This is very backwards for like the progressive wrestling company. That's like, just wait till the like Adam Devine was talking about, at the pay-per-view, it was bloody, it was awesome. And I seen some sicko be like, wait, the masses are going to start waking up. No, dude, Adam Devine's a weirdo. Have you ever listened to his pod? He's a weird dude. Like, no, he enjoyed again, okay, so you found a guy who belongs to the niche of the niche. Did he see this? Did he like this? Because there's death matches in GCW and shit that don't go that hardcore, right? A gusset, people take the gussets like in the chest. This is way worse than a gusset. Let me just put it that way, right? So who knows? Would Adam Devine like looking at gusset spots? Like that's the thing. How new is he? All he admitted was, I never watched AEW before, and then I was at the show. They let me choke slam a guy in the ring, and then I watched that Ospreay cage match live, and it was crazy, which I'm sure it was. I don't even hate the match. I just thought it underdelivered, but it's just a matter of like, well, what if he sees this? Then what? What if he follows it every week? Then what? So, yeah, anyways, it's taken us a minute to get through this because I can't help but rave or rant and rave, rather. And rave, not always necessarily a positive thing, right? But about this spot and just how ridiculous it is, right? Because I'm somebody who has defended hardcore shit and death spot shit, death match stuff. And we used to review it early on PWT. It's like, I'm not against it at all, but it's just the stupidity of Moxley. Or at least, yeah, they should have done this on a pay-per-view where there was all normal matches, and then this happened on the pay-per-view, and then Edge spears him and wins. And then that's the end of it, right? Because look at this. It looks like I made the joke, it looks like he got attacked by an ogre. Like he went searching for trolls in a cave and came out with a spike in his back. This is ridiculous.
Pop culture and in the American culture of this country in regards to entertainment
why not? Okay, what's the next spot? Mox just like, why doesn't he Edge just baseball swing that thing into Mox's back next time? What's the diff? You know what I mean? That's where it's at. I mean, where do we go from here? And that's not the end. He choked out the guy who did that to him. You know what I mean? It's way too like, okay, do this and then Mox gets beat and then we don't see him for 3 months or something. Okay, I would have at least been like, at least they did that and they gave Edge the moment. No, he gets bulldog choked with a guy with a mace sticking out of his back.
As the music industry, as the film industry, as the sporting industry, we are just as prevalent. We are a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we look like we're a bunch of carnival barkers and freaks sitting here doing stuff like this.
For the sickos, man. So that's Al Snow and Vince Russo. Vince Russo didn't really say a lot, bro. Here's what Jim Cornette had to say. I implore you all, and shout out Heckle with just a brilliant friend of the show, Travis Heckle, a brilliant artwork here, especially if you hear the whole clip. It's like 25 or half an hour. Go check it out. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to listen to this 2-minute and 50-second clip that Heel Uzi posted, and let's get into it.
Just then, Edge grabs Moxley with the bat laying on the ground and gives him a suplex, and Moxley lands back first on the bat, and the spikes stick in his back.
And remember, we had a former wrestler break this down, send me in a message breaking it down, and he even pointed out, he's like, dude, the leather straps, the nails go through a leather piece that's loose. He's like, so even that, like, no one, like, even that was so stupidly done. Like, they weren't even, like, solidly in place. There's room for them to move around and shit, and the leather's, like, nailed to the board. So bad. Anyway, sorry, Jim will break this down more expertly probably than anybody. So
bat, and the spikes stick in his back. Now we're not talking about steel spikes that impaled him up to a depth of 6 inches. It's like, I guess, stepping on a Lego or whatever. These things stuck in, and there were enough of them. Even a half-inch deep. I don't know what the.
Yeah, like I'd say it wasn't. It was like an inch or two for sure to stick to his skin like that. And that's why I bring up the gussets. It's like those go what, like a half inch into your skin, and that's not like that bad if you think about it, But it's the fact it was like stuck in there so grotesquely. It was so not planned out. I don't know how to word that. Unplanned, is that a word? Like it wasn't thought out properly. And who knows if Mox even meant to do that? Do y'all think he might have meant to like land on the wood part? No, probably not. I'll take the spikes. I'm Sonic now. And then I'll do a somersault and then I'll run really fast and then I'll bulldog choke you. Like what the
idiot. But they stuck in deep enough, and there were enough of them that it was stuck in his skin, and you could see it pulling his skin, and he could stand up with the bat in his back. And it was hanging off of him, and the referee was looking and didn't know what to do. And he's walking around with it in his back.
Just at a loss for words.
And it looks like some kind of goddamn insane clown posse juggalo dinner party or some bullshit.
Yeah.
That's my favorite album of theirs, Juggalo Dinner.
Juggalo Dinner Party. Brian Last, amazing.
Well, they did have good horse de-overs. But again, the idiot took a bump on sharp plastic spikes, if that's what indeed it happened. Hold on now, there's more. Suddenly, here comes Wheeler Useless, and he runs in and gives Edge the big knee. And then he's trying to pull the bat out of the back, and he can't. So then suddenly, again, here's his teammate with a bat stuck in his back. He can't figure out how to get it out. So then suddenly he jumps out of the ring, runs around, and jumps up in Edge's arms so Edge can powerbomb him through a table on the floor at ringside.
That's what I mean, too. Like, then they just start freestyling, like, okay, I'm just... Like, who knows if they had it set up, but the timing's off because he's trying to pull this thing out. I have no clue, but that's exactly what it was. He just runs up to him, gets powerbombed, and then when they're in the ring, they still don't have the spiked bat out, and then they just start, like, clotheslining Edge in the corner. Like, clothesline. And you're just sitting, and then they're, like, trying not to show it on camera, and you're just sitting there thinking, like, this is the worst match ever, man. Like, Edge better win this. He better spear everybody and get the W here, no? Like, there's no way that wasn't supposed to be, like, the finish, but they couldn't get the spike out of his back. No, they go into, like, spear through the table. This shit happens. That shit happens. Bulldog choke. Edge loses. Like, where do you go from here? Mox has survived an exploding barbed wire super kick boot to the face, to the head, and a macing to the back. It's just insanity.
So you think Moxley must have said,
no, it makes him hardcore and he rules. Don't you remember ECW? ECW died. And yes, when I was young, yes, you're like, ooh, that's taboo because you only saw a bit of it, right? And that's how this stuff works. It works in, you know how this would work if the FTW title was just Moxley's division, and they're like, this is the FTW rules, hardcore rules, anything goes. And then Moxley just brought like the more modern death match element, and it was like their death match division. And then this isn't like the main thing. Like, this is the main thing of your show, dude, right? When you're rolling out Rizzler plushie dolls to sell to who, right? I'll show you who. We know the type of I'll show you an example of the type of kids that I guess are at these shows. Which is fine. I'm not a Karen, but anyways, let's get through what Jim has to say here.
Let the referee get it out. Go do your spot. And then the referee
See, Jim just called it. I didn't even listen to this full thing prior.
pulled the bat out.
Have you noticed the fans groan when Wheeler Yuta appears in these? Because it's always a run-in to help Moxley near the end.
They get dead silent, same with Garcia. They could not give a less.
The fans groan when it happens.
Yes, and so do I. And again, here's the thing: of course, the bat sticking in his back. People are going, but we'll talk about the psychological implications here momentarily. But the point is, in the middle of this, now they've just completely lost track of what's going on, because it's supposed to be a world title match, but now this other guy.
Yeah, so he just continues to break it down. Break it down.
Just then.
Shout out Jim Cornette. This is an impromptu, I guess, Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. Little Brian sprinkled on top. So nice, had to hit it twice. So here is their take on the whole. We're going to watch this whole 7-minute thing or whatever. And here's their take on the whole Moxley stuff that went down here. And Dave, so George Capture, the top mod of the Top Pod, DM me, and he's like, dude, it sounded like Dave was pleasuring himself when I listened to it. He's like, it was legit concerning. And I was like, dude.
You what?
I would not be shocked, but anyways, here's their take. We saved the best for last. Yeah.
Checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe.
Don't like that's right. Go and like and subscribe to my shit right now.
We had Mox and Adam Copeland for the AEW title in a street fight. And they start backstage brawling, and then Copeland tries to steal the briefcase. Moxley sends him into a bay door and takes off. They brawl into the crowd. They brawl around ringside. Moxley's trying to choke him out. End up with a paradigm shift on the announce table on Copeland. So Mox works him over for a while. And then big superplex. They show Prince Nana watching backstage. And then Copeland gets his bat covered in nails. He gets in the ring, and Mox hits a cutter. Mox sets up a table in the corner. Copeland gets the bat, and he whacks him in the gut with the bat. And then he puts this bat on the ground with all of the nails pointing up.
Think about just what he's been saying this whole time. It's utterly ridiculous. And I don't know, man. We changed Brian's name. It's not Lion Brian anymore. It's Tryin' Brian, okay? Because he's trying at least to get through this and give Dave, he's trying to be, you can tell he's like disgustingly getting through this himself. But he's going to be like, oh, it's 4 stars, but he's trying, okay?
And he gives Moxley a vertical suplex onto this bat. And this bat
in his
got
back.
Stuck in Moxley's back.
The nails got stuck in his back.
I don't know if that's what he intended, but it happened. And so he sat up.
But I mean, the thing, aside from getting it stuck, when the referee and Wheeler Yuta tried to get the thing off him, they couldn't get it.
Well, here's
off
the
him
thing.
that easy.
He gets his bat stuck in his back, and he sits.
Yeah, his bat's just stuck in his back, just casual, like a scoop slam.
Sits up, and man, he realizes that he's got a bat stuck in his back. And so
he's got nails stuck in his back.
Well, it's nails. It's not a bat, Brian. Well, actually, it was technically nails. No, it was the whole thing. Like the nails. And this is the thing, right? Dave knows what that wrestler sent me last live show. Dave knows that. Someone told him, well, no, Dave, it was actually the nails were strapped to the leather. So, and then the leather was nailed to the wood. So technically the wood. Dave always, he can't just, a bat. If I went, it's the same thing with the suplex off of the cage. If I ask somebody, just a normal person, hey, is that a bat stuck in that guy's back? They'd be like, holy shit, that's a bat stuck in that guy's back. Oh, technically it was the nails, Brian. Well, except for Tony Khan texted me, Brian. And in fact, it was nails.
Brian.
Right? I get text from Tony Khan. You don't study the business, Brian. You don't study the deathmatch business.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Not a bat.
He is
It's the
going
nails.
to.
It's not the bat. Brian's like, bro, to regular people, it's a bat. It's just like the suplex off the cage. Well, Seth wasn't standing on the cage, so it wasn't technically off the cage, Marks. Or are you more of a Marky Smarky Mark in the Funky Bunch? Like, what the f are you talking about, dude? If you go to a regular person, it looks to them like Punk's laying on top of the cage and gets suplexed off it. If you go to a regular person and go, oh, yeah, that bat's stuck in that guy's back. Like, Dave, what do you think Brian's saying? That he, like it's Mortal Kombat? And it's like, finish him. And the guy sticks a baseball bat impales him through the chest with it. And there's like the wooden blunt instrument sticking through his chest, through his back. Like, is that what Dave thinks we're talking about? Or Brian's trying to, like, Dave, stop with your semantical bullshit. God damn it. Sorry. Continue. We get a minute in and I'm already raging at this guy.
Milk this for all it's worth. And he slowly gets to his knees. And I think the referee asked, like, do you want me to take it out of your back? And he said, no. Like,
no, that's not what happened. The referee went there and started pulling on it, and then it didn't work. And then Yuta's, and then Brian's like, and he milked it for what? Like, it was him selling. No, it was him legitimately going, Moxley doesn't sell shit. And you can tell from after they get the bat out of his back, and then Edge spears him through the table, and Mox is laying there, and he's like looking around, and it's like, you're on television, bro. Like, sell this shit. And so, and people go, what do you want him to do? It's like, well, sell it properly, you know? Like, you were a WWE world champ. This is crazy. Yeah, what Brian's trying to say is, like, he's trying Brian. He's trying to, like, make it better than it was. Or like, oh, Moxley's selling it for what it's worth. Dude, he had a bat lodged in his back. You know, well, just the nails fell. It was actually just the nails.
Some conversation. And so you never saw a guy so slowly get to his feet and so dramatically slowly walk around the ring like he's Frankenstein with this thing sticking out of his back. I mean, he milked this for all it was worth. And then Wheeler hits the ring. He lays out Copeland, and he goes to take this bat out of Moxley's back, and he can't get it out of his back.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he goes to do something else, and then the referee comes over, and now the referee's got
trying. Brian knows better, bro. The ref tried to get it out first. If I'm mistaken, maybe I'm wrong. It looked like the ref was like pulling on it, and then he's like, no, whatever. The ref is the one also who communicates between the wrestlers, guys. So instead of Mox yelling across, hey, there's some shit stuck in my back, I need a minute, the ref has to run over to Edge and tell him, especially with the table spot or whatever that was coming up. And with Jim's dissection, what my belief is that I think Mox was supposed to go out of the ring after that shit. And I think he's like, you run and take that table spot. And that's why Yuta just ran up and took that spot or whatever. I'm listening to these are the experts, supposedly. I'm just taking their shit and I'm sort of puzzle piecing it together myself. But that's irrelevant, right? None of that even matters. What matters is how Brian's trying to spin this thing here. Like it was some genius sell job. Hey, dude, let me just stab you with this sword. See how good you sell it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're going to take a long time getting up from that, dude.
The black gloves on, and he's trying to get this thing out of Moxley's back. And finally, they got it out of the guy's back. And Moxley goes to the corner, and he just hung out for a long time after that bat got removed. So then we got 8,000 people hitting the ring. We had let's
Claudio
see,
and Pac.
Claudio, and then Pac, and then FTR, and everybody's brawling.
Marina
Copeland
King.
spears Mox through the table. Marina breaks it up. Willow hits the ring, and then Kip Sabian
All
hits the ring.
sloppy
Nick,
too. He's not saying that it's all sloppy and all over the place, other than Willow. She was like the only person who had like her timing down and played the crowd the right amount and shit, you know?
Wayne hits the ring, and Nick gives Copeland the Wayne's World. Copeland kicks out, but Mox puts him in the Bulldog choke and gets the submission.
Imagine you've never watched it and you're just hearing them describe all that shit. You're like, what the? I'm never, ever going to watch this. You know, you'd never watch it. So ridiculous.
Absolutely insane.
Yes. So Nick Wayne was the one who ended up costing Copeland the match in the end.
Mostly. Copeland did kick out of it.
Yeah, so Nick Wayne was the one, like, Dave.
But he then did fall.
But he
down.
did-
Dave's trying to tell the story for Tony Khan. This is what he does, chat. We chronicle it here at PWT. He's trying to let us know, well, it's Nick Wayne, so Edge is going to spear Nick Wayne. Like, he's trying to tell us where Tony's going with the story. Well, Edge is going to be mad at Nick Wayne because Nick Wayne technically cost him the match here the most. Out of the 700 people who kicked Edge's ass, it was Nick Wayne because he hit that move that cost him the most. Because this is amateur hour, amateur night at the Apollo in a video game in Tony Khan's head, right? And so because Nick Wayne hit that one move on him, that after everyone did a million moves to him, that one move cost him the most because it did the most damage. It was the last person that touched him. So the other 12 people don't matter. And they're doing that so that Edge can go after Nick Wayne, and then Christian and Edge tangle up again. And that's ultimately what's going to happen here. And Dave Meltzer's just stooging it because he's an idiot, and he texts Tony Khan, stooges everything.
I choked immediately, though.
Bulldog. Yes. So hopefully they immediately gave Moxley a tetanus shot. He drove 10 hours in the snow to do that.
Yeah.
And then back. And so, holy smokes. So then Copeland asks Dax to help him up. Dax walks off. Cash goes after him. Dax shoves him, walks off on his own.
Yeah, I scaled down from Mount Fiji. I was up there with Darby Allin, and I was with Liam Neeson in the movie Wolves or whatever it's called. Yeah, it was cool. And then it was like Ice Road Truckers. And I drove in a big truck, and I was like, vroom, vroom, through the Coca-Cola.
Cash helps Copeland to his feet. They hug, and then Cash leaves to see what's up with Dax. So I wasn't expecting a split of FTR.
No.
Nor do I think we'll get it. I think this is probably one of those swerve deals where you think they're going to split up, and instead they both turn heel and take out Copeland.
I think so.
But he got a standing ovation afterwards.
Yeah.
Adam Copeland. Miles better than the pay-per-view match.
Yeah. I mean, it was
and
better.
A much hotter crowd.
How was that better than the pay-per-view match? Miles better. Hard disagree. What was good about that match before any of that shit? Think about all the shit he read off. Oh, that was miles better. Well, that's sort of like dissing. That's not a good thing, bro. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, well, it was a much hotter crowd. Yeah, well, I mean, it also wasn't, it also
they didn't position it in the middle of the show as opposed to 5 hours in after a cage match and
I mean, they
double juice matches and all that craziness.
Yeah, it was a lot. And this one, they got to do the wild match, on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, they did.
They went out there to do a wrestling match after the wild matches. And this one, it was, everybody else had to follow it. But you know what? I mean, it was like the crowd was hot, and I heard the crowd was hot all through Collision too. So, I mean, that was the one thing I heard that they were very happy with the crowd because, on a cold.
How is that? Oh, they were really happy with the crowd. Yeah, so is the local cover band who get 50 people to turn out. Like, what does that mean? What does that Evolve? The people who wrestle at Evolve in front of 12 people are probably happy for the crowd. Like, what does that really mean? It's just always these obscure. Sorry, we don't. I don't want to just shit on AEW right now, but it's like, what does that mean, bro?
Cold night and everything, even though it's not necessarily cold in the building.
They were just really loud and hot. Okay, that's great. I know we all love that. Okay, it doesn't stop people from picking apart these Raw shows. Last week, that's what everyone was saying. Oh, I thought the crowd's supposed to make it better. That's literally what Dave and that's what Tony Khan's sitting there going, oh, well, the crowd was great. And they thought it was great, so it's great. Justified. Piped in. You deserve a chance. You know? Like, what does that mean? Why don't people come at Dave why am I an asshole for going at Dave when it's like you could just go at him for that? He's saying the same thing that you sickos are claiming the E-drones are saying. What the
sometimes on a cold night with bad weather, the crowd's not necessarily going to be so into everything. And again, 4+ hour show.
He just made that up. On a cold night with bad weather, the crowd's not going to be that much into thing. And then meanwhile, you go to Jim Cornette. He's like, well, it was Christmas, 1974. It was a Monday night. Place was packed, and they were throwing the babies in the air, So Dave, again, it's like when you go 30% roughly. It's like, were you there? Well, no, my correspondent texted me. Like, shut up, Dave.
Show, 4.5 hour show. And maybe a little even longer, but you're roughly 4.5 hour show. By the end, you often get tired. And I heard that the crowd was very up for the last match, which was the Jalisco match.
If you love this,
whoop-de-doo, Basil. What does it all mean? And these are the type of kids. So I'm like, think of the children. And people are like, what are you, some kind of Karen? Well,
I dare you to tell me I'll ground you.
This is the kind of kid. Like, look, dude. And this is all good. I mean, if this is for show, people will be like, oh, what are you so uptight and everything? Listen, I don't. And the rules are like growing up for me too. Is like at the matches, you can get away with flipping people off, cursing, chanting along. But yeah, I mean, this is the spiked bat in the back, and they're gonna sell Rizzler dolls to this little girl potentially. And I mean, yeah, they're eating it up here. So again, it's a niche of a niche, an already niche wrestling fan base. You're catering to the niche of that. I thought I popped for this interaction. People are getting uptight about it, but yeah, these little shitheads, I guess, are who. I mean, if their parents are cool. I watched hardcore matches growing up, Mick Foley and all that stuff. I saw some thumbtack spots growing up and stuff like that. So the hardcore title was a prevalent thing. So am I one to speak? I don't know. I think that's different than like hypodermic needles and then an impaling with a bat and then guy falling off a crane and can't walk. And then you bring the Rizzler out there and it's like, okay, a guy getting pizza cutter during a Domino's commercial, attempted murders and stuff. They always say, oh, you don't want to be like WWE. But then there's a moment here with a kid and then the same sickos want to be like, well, you people say it should be for the kids too and stuff. It's like, yeah, but you don't get it. Like that goes against what you say. You say you don't want it. I'm saying no, catering to kids is smart. And doesn't mean catering to kids doesn't mean you're WWE automatically. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't want to be a Karen about this. I'm not going to craziness. And then they pull the belt out. I love that though. I don't know. I popped for this as well. And I just wanted to bring this to the show and go, look, again, we question it. We're like, what about the kids? I don't know. There's a kid there having a good time. Does he get scarred for life from this? I don't know, man. I'm not going to be the one to be like, who are we catering this to, But yeah, I just think there's an identity crisis a little bit where it's like, okay, how much do you want to try and cross over? But that, ladies and gentlemen, here, I'm going to check in with chat here, but that was like our quick little news. Raw's on. Round of applause for that. We'll switch tabs over here.